Speak to Ishan Russell first of all. Ishan, I am fascinated, we've discussed this several times, by how you put such a huge population, the second most populous country in the world, under lockdown, and how do you communicate that and enforce it?
Well, what the government has been trying to do for a while now was trying to sort of prepare the people. So there was that voluntary curfew that was imposed this past Sunday, and since then most of the states across India had already gone into lockdown. So the people were expected to be sort of mentally prepared, if I may say so, in terms of gathering their essential supplies and being ready for a lockdown. But the period of this lockdown of 21 days is going to be extremely tough, especially for the most vulnerable sections of the populations. So what has happened right now is essential services are open. There are a few grocery stores that are open, but mostly government-controlled ones. Private stores are not open across the board, and that has led to huge queues outside shops as well. But that is what the people in the middle and the upper middle class are dealing with. On the other side, the poor sections of society, the migrant laborers, the daily wage workers, they're in for a very tough time.
And tell us more about that, because a lot of these daily wage workers that you mentioned, if they don't work, they don't eat, and they can't really even stockpile or even stay at home, afford to stay at home. What happens there?
Yes, and even if they're staying at home, maintaining a social distance is a problem, because you often have situations where 4 to 5 people are just living inside one room, and that is the scene across most of slums in urban India. And when these people try to go back to their rural hamlets which they came from, train services were stopped. Many people, we've seen reports coming in the local media, they were actually just trying to walk back home, the distance of hundreds of kilometers, but just get out of the cities, because the kind of fear that has pervaded the atmosphere as far as this disease is concerned, and also the fact that the government has said that if we do not do this for 21 days, then we would all be set back for 21 years. So a really strong statement coming in. Also, while it puts in the seriousness of the issue at fore, it also does lead to a lot of fear as a sentiment, especially amongst the most vulnerable sections of society. So what has happened is, while the national government has not announced a relief package, various state governments have taken measures like opening up shelters, providing food banks, providing doles to daily wage workers, but it's going to be extremely tough for the next 3 weeks.
And Ishan, how do you communicate effectively to so many people what's happening? For example, in the UK, where I'm from, just yesterday, the government had to clarify what the situation was, what lockdown meant. So how do you do that for so many people?
Yes, exactly. In fact, when the Prime Minister spoke yesterday, he spoke for about 30 minutes, but he did not spell out the exact measures that were being taken in terms of what services would be available, what wouldn't be available, and those details had to be spelled out later. But in that time, while the gap between, that 1 hour gap between the announcement and the details of what would be open, would not be open, saw panic buying by a lot of people. And that is something that is a huge challenge that faces India right now, because while there might be a lot of digital literacy and digital penetration in terms of messaging in the urban centers, what about rural India? So right now, the fortune that India has is the spread of this COVID-19 is limited to urban centers and has not extended into rural India. And that is what the government perhaps is hoping to clamp down on, in terms of just restricting travel so that it does not spread to the hinterlands of India.
Ishan Russell in New Delhi, thank you so much, and stay safe for us.